with a lot of them, like Peter Jackson's Hobbit trilogy, was a brilliant vision by him and Del Toro when it started out, and it became something completely different. I liked it, but so many people did not like those movies.
Yeah. I mean, if you just read some of the comments, of course, and just watch stuff, it's like...
There's so much hate against this movie.
Yes.
And not just like not the movie as much as the idea of the movie.
Sure.
And the idea that it's a trilogy. I think that in itself really set a lot of people off. So these visionaries have these vast ideas for movies, and I think The Hobbit could have been a 2-movie slog.
Could have been a 2-movie.
Yep. I
just imagine if it was officially directed by Del Toro.
I'm torn because
You're torn about that?
He's in my top 5 favorite directors ever.
Sure.
As a creative visionary, he is unparalleled. He's so brilliant.
Yeah.
But looking at his movies and then comparing them, because he helped write the Hobbit movies as well, he doesn't write romance the best.
Sure. Yep.
In terms of
I can see that.
Looked at Hellboy, looked at the Pacific Rim. He's not the best writer when it comes to romance.
A little clunky.
I think the Toriel Achilles stuff was his.
Okay.
I think that was his idea.
Okay.
And I have nothing to back that up on. That's just my looking at his writing. I think that's where it came from.
Okay.
That's what scares me, is that there would have been more of that in the script. What amazes me would be his designs.
That is what I was going to say. I mean, just the creature design, the look of the film, etc. You know what? Not that I wasn't. Again, I really like these movies. I don't absolutely love the Hobbit series, but they're obviously well made, and you can get on to. There's whole other topics you can get onto, but just seeing how it would have been a little bit more exciting to see a different director take that on. I don't know. And Del Toro, I was excited when I first heard that. First, I was kind of shocked, because it's like, wait, Del Toro's doing it. Yeah. But yeah, looking at the, I would have the design of it and how just he's very creative. He's dark. He's I don't know.
I would love to see Ron Perlman be Thorin. Wouldn't that be great? Like, hey, I want my gold back. Got it.
That would have been a very different film.
Matt, what did you think of the Hobbit films? I've never heard this from you before.
Say your piece.
I thought they were okay. They weren't better than the Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Nothing could be better than Lord of the Rings.
But it wasn't like Peter Jackson pulled a George Lucas. But
I could see that.
It wasn't the best. Some of the CGI was kind of fake, especially in the last one, like when they're jumping off the bridge, when he's hopping on the rocks.
The so-called Mario scene.
That was unnecessary.
Sure.
And a lot of those kinds of things. The acting was a little dramatic too.
Yeah.
But the first 2 were fine.
Yeah, I think I'm on the third Hobbit movie, because you're right. That is one of the weirdest parts of that movie, is how godlike the elves are. I think the third Hobbit movie has the biggest strengths of the trilogy and the weakest links, being Alfred Lickspell and his overdone screen time. Think of the children. Like, what on earth?
Yeah, that is puzzling.
Yeah, it's really odd.
Yeah.
Like, just as a directorial choice and as a script choice. And the actor they got wasn't very good as that character either.
Right.
You get to see Bard. I think one of the best scenes. I went into it and I got really emotional at the beginning when
Isn't that cool?
He kills the dragon.
Yes.
And he's like, "Son, look at me."
Look at me. Yep, that's so cool.
The soundtrack. I listen to that and I listen to that scene and I get goosebumps and I get teary eyed. It's so emotional, and there's so much subtext in that scene.
Yeah.
It's so beautifully done, and that wasn't in the book. And there's so much. Again, like practical effects, almost people look at the Hobbit book with very nostalgic.
They do.
Eyes.
Very passionate about the Hobbit.
And I'm a Tolkien lover. I have all of his books, even like the little short stories on Middle Earth and the Tom Bombadil adventures. And as a narrative, The Hobbit is a great story. As a movie, The Hobbit book is not a good narrative at all, because it's so whimsical. It exists in the realm of utter fantasy.
Okay.
And in the cartoon that was made in the 70s by Ralph Bakshi, it's perfectly embodied as a book, as an adaptation, as a way of the Lord of the Rings universe. I think the Hobbit movies are seamlessly done.
Okay.
In terms of a melding of those two, Alfred Lickspell and the elf god nature and the love story We don't need to talk about it because we.
So,
already
do you think there should have been 2?
I think there should have been 2.
Okay.
I think it would have been nice to see more of the Radagast the Brown
Sure.
in the extended editions, and I
Okay.
think that's where he mainly belongs.
Okay.
The whole thing with the hedgehog in the first movie should have been an extended edition scene, because it's enough to know that he senses evil instead of this is why he senses evil. And I think that's a lot of the problem is there's not a question as to why. It's a lot of as to how
Okay.
in those movies. But like again, there's so much good stuff in the third one, like the scene where Azog the Defiler kills Philly,
Yeah.
the dwarf, and that's the nephew of Thorin. For the first time, I really hated him, and I think that's what the first movie was missing,
Sure.
was a reason to hate the bad guy, because it's not that Sauron's scary. He's evil, and the Ringwraiths we see kill hobbits.
Yeah.
So thus Sauron kills hobbits, thus we hate Sauron.
Yeah.
Until this point, Azog had killed an old man that we'd seen hoard gold and was a jerk.
Yeah.
If you think about it, because the Thror, King Under the Mountain, was a big jerk, poisoned by a dragon.
And is
sickness.
this, besides, Sauron, is this the first full CG villain?
Gollum?
Well, Gollum. True. Right.
I mean, and Gollum was motion capture, so that's a whole other argument.
That's a whole different thing. Yeah.
Actually, Azog was motion capture as well. If you guys watch the show Arrow, Manu Bennett, who plays Deathstroke,
Okay.
he's the motion capture and voice
Oh,
for
see, I didn't
Azog
even
the
know
Defiler.
that. Look at that.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
So, and I think like the animation on him was the best. There's a scene where he looks at Thorin and his like cheeks puff. The animation on that scene, incredible, and you feel the emotion from him.
Sure.
For the first time, you felt an utter hatred for Thorin, and you get an utter hatred for him. So the scene on the ice, which is the best part of the movie, is so intense. It's so involving. When I saw it, there was an older lady in front of us who, when the spike of Azog came up through the ice, she screamed and grabbed both people next to her and just screamed out like a string of expletives, and it was hilarious.